Dwayne, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Good to be here.
My pleasure, man. First off, congratulations on your debut comedy special. Is it on like Amazon and stuff?
Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Spotify, if you want to listen to it, Apple Music, all the streaming networks, man. It's so yeah, I'm super stoked to have it out there. It's super cool.
Jeez,
And it just came out from behind the paywall on Amazon Prime, so you can watch it for free now for everybody out there.
fantastic, man. Now, what makes this really cool? Okay, listen, a comedy special is amazing. A debut special for a comedian is amazing. But your story, man, like you were in the military?
I was in the Army for 23 years, and then yeah.
23 years. Like, where'd you go? What did you do?
Oh, bro. Well, I mean, I came in '92, and I spent most of the first half of my time in Europe, in Germany and Bosnia, stuff like that. And then was back in the States and switched over about just in time for Iraq to kick off. I switched over to be an infantry guy in '03, and and then things got a little different. But I spent a couple tours in Iraq and stuff like that. So yeah, man, all over the place, all over the place.
You must have seen some stuff, man.
I've seen a few things. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, which is probably why
gosh.
I do comedy.
So how did you, okay, wait a sec, man. So you're a
Yeah.
longtime military guy. Where did comedy come from?
It's kind of a crazy story. So I wanted to be a comedian since I was 8 years old. I mean, I always knew I wanted to do stand up. It was my dream. And then I left for the army at 17 and didn't really, obviously get to pursue anything. I had never tried comedy until then because I was too young to get into clubs. And it was crazy. My oldest was getting ready to, he was looking at colleges and stuff, and we were having all these conversations because I was in a government job that I hated. And not, it was, but wasn't a bad job. I wasn't having fun with it because I knew it wasn't what I was supposed to do. And I was telling him all the time, I was like, man, like I wanted to try stand-up comedy my whole life and I never did that. So I was telling him like, follow your dreams, do what you want to do. And I swear to God, I walked into a coffee shop in DC, and there was a flyer. It was like, "Are you a military veteran? Have you ever thought of trying stand-up comedy?" I was like, "This is the craziest thing
What?
I've ever seen in
Really?
my life." I know,
No.
dude. I swear to
Like how
God.
random is that?
Dude, not at all. But it was the universe was like, "Hey, man, here you go." And it was for this nonprofit. It's an amazing nonprofit. They're all over the country now, but Armed Services Arts Partnership. I love them to death, and they teach classes on all kinds of different art forms to veterans. Comedy was kind of their cornerstone, and so I signed up, took that class, and did my graduation show at the DC Improv, and now I teach that class for them. And yeah, just kind of just fell in love with it and was like, here we go. It was an addiction, so very quickly.
So
So
wait, okay, wait a sec, Dwayne. All right. So
yeah.
long-time military man, you have this
Yes.
desire to do comedy. I'm assuming at this point when you were thinking about comedy, you still had military friends.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, I
how
was
did you
working
break it
in
to
the Department
them?
of
Yeah.
Defense at the time. I
Oh
mean, I was
wow.
working with military people still. I just had, I just had a tie instead of camouflage, so it was a little different.
So what did
But
they
yeah,
think when you said this?
the military folks or the
Yeah,
family?
the military.
Actually, it was cool. I had a boss. I just gotten a kind of. I just switched over to this new gig, and I told the boss, I was like, "This is gonna sound crazy." I was like, "But I need to not go on this one trip so I can take this comedy class." And he was super cool with it. Honestly, he was like, "I was like, I know it sounds nuts, and it's whatever." Because I was like, he's probably gonna be like, "Oh, it doesn't help the mission or whatever." He was like, "Dude, I took a woodworking class, so I get it." I'm like, "Oh, all right, cool."
Awesome.
I don't think anybody expected it to become my career a few years later, but they just thought, oh, he's going to get this out of it's a hobby. He's going to get out of his system. Same with my family; they probably thought the same thing,
Right.
and yeah, I had no idea where it was gonna end up. So here we
So
are.
how did wifey take it?
She thought it was great at first.
Mm.
I
Okay.
will say everyone in my house at one point, especially in the beginning, they were like, all you care about is comedy. It's all you do now. It's crazy. And it's funny because I started very, very chill. I was like doing one open mic a week, or I'd do two. And then it
Right.
became like I'm out 4 or 5 nights a week and stuff. But everybody thought that at first until they realized, hey, this isn't a hobby. It's not just another thing he's doing on the weekends for fun. This is something he wants to do seriously, and he's actually pretty good at it. So yeah, it just and then they all kind of came around. But at first, everybody in my house was kind of like, this is a little much. But it worked out. So now they're all on board.
Oh, that's great. So how long did it take from you to go like to from full-time employment to like from your previous job to
hmm
comedy? Yeah.
I'm kind of when I say this, people freak out a little bit, especially people that have been in comedy for a long time. I think I quit my job about 3 years in. I think I quit my full-time gig to go full-time comedy. I'd been doing it, as a side gig for a few years, but then I was like, you know what? Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's give it a shot. Let's jump in with both feet, and yeah. So that was in 2021. So it's been about 4.5 years of full time now. So.
Oh my goodness. So what was the moment that you thought to yourself, okay, now we take the leap?
Well, it's kind of a depressing story. I was super depressed.
Oh,
I was,
right,
it
right.
was, after the pandemic and or during the pandemic and everything, I was super depressed. I was like, I knew, it's like just one of those things where you're not doing the thing you're supposed to do. And I'm sure some of your viewers have, either felt that or heard that, where it's like, you're in the wrong spot, even though, it's comfortable, it's fine. The money was good. The job was fun, but it just you're in the wrong spot. And for me it just took that kind of like I got really depressed in 2020 and 2021, and
Yeah.
just had to have those hard conversations with my wife, like, hey, I've been in the government since I was 17 years old. I want to do something completely different and follow kind of the artsy side of me that I had when I was younger, and the creative side that I had later, or earlier in my life, that I couldn't really do in the army or in the government and stuff like that. So it just came down to that. And, we sat down and had a little conversation, and she goes, well, we had a lot of conversations, and she goes, what do you want to do? I go, I think we have the finances to do it for a year and see how it works out.
Right.
And then amazingly enough, some things just fell into place right after that. It's kind of cool how the universe works when you're doing the right thing. It just fell into place. And yeah, so it just kind of worked out, and here we are now. So I,
It's amazing, Dwayne, just the power of making a decision, right? Like
yeah,
you're on the fence for a bit, you're testing the waters, and
yeah.
then it just came to a point where you're like, okay, man, am I serious about this or what?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. It,
Yeah.
it it 100% was. And the same, I'd been going through that ever since I got out. I retired from the military in 15, and
Mm,
for years I was just like chasing jobs, like what do I want to do?
yeah.
Just looking around for all these different things, and I just kind of fell back into the same thing I'd done for my in the end of my military career,
Right.
which was fine. It's what a lot of people do, but it just wasn't. I was like, I just wanted to do something for me instead of, for everybody else. So yeah, it was a tough decision, but man, I'm super glad I made it at this point.
For sure. Do you remember the first time on stage?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How'd that go?
Well, it was kind of so I talk about like two times that I was on stage
Okay.
that I kind of consider my first. When I was in the class, they set up like a showcase for us at this one place. It's just an open mic and stuff, and it was good. It was a lot of fun, but I kind of flubbed some lines, and I was like, oh, I was mad at myself. And then about 4 days later, I did another one, and everything went perfectly. I was like, this is the greatest thing. And man, that feeling of going from the first time. I mean, I'm kind of like the guy that, like, if I screw something up, I'm gonna work at it 20 times harder than I did the first time. So, and I'd been working hard. I just screwed up a line, which happens all the time now when you're doing a newer bit, right? So
Sure. Yeah.
I'm kind of used to that. But yeah, that night I just remember coming home and just being like, this was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then the following week, I was at the DC Improv. It was our graduation show. That's where we take our students to do their final show. 200 people in the room. It's the perfect setup. It's
Yeah.
everything's exactly what it should be. And that night it's just unforgettable. I mean, just being on that stage and just hearing the laughs roll in. It's a feeling you can't describe to people that that don't go through it. It's a drug, man. It's amazing when that happens. So yeah, I'll never forget those times.
I think it's you being in the flow state. You're like floating.
Yeah,
It's just what you were meant to do, man. It was just flowing
yeah.
through you.
Yeah, for sure. And it just feels comfortable. And it's funny, I look at the tape and, there's some things, obviously it was years ago and my first time up in a real club. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't send this tape out. It's not the greatest,
All
but
right.
it felt like I was Robin Williams up there on that stage that night. You know what I mean? It was great. But yeah, man, like you said, the flow state, when you're in the zone, it's
Yeah.
just, there's nothing comparable to it.
So, Dwayne, what's your approach? Okay, so there are some
Yeah.
comedians. I know Seinfeld, he's so meticulous. He writes out everything. Then there's guys who are just totally off the top of their heads. I think Mark Maron's kind of like off the top of his head. What's your approach to comedy?
I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm off the top of my head. I do riff a lot. Like, I do play with stuff, and that's how I get new bits or like a new tag to a joke, things like that.
Okay.
Um, I just it's weird. I'll just have an idea. It's kind of crazy. You know, I've tried that thing where I'm like Seinfeld, where I sit down at 9 a.m. every morning and it just like it doesn't feel right.
Right.
But gosh, things just pop into your head all the time, especially right before I go to sleep is the worst time. I mean, worst, I say worst, but it's the
Right.
best time. Is, you know, just things pop into your head and you're like, oh, let me write this down. Or somebody will say something and you catch it and
Right.
it's just like, oh, that could be funny. I can't believe that. Or you see something, you know, that's ridiculous. I have to talk about it.
Right.
Um, and then I'll take it to I run an open mic and a show and a showcase here just south of DC as well. So I take it there on you know when I'm there and I kind of play with it a little bit and see what
Right.
works, see what doesn't work, and then kind of go back to the drawing board. I do, a lot of thing one of the things that helps me a lot that most people don't know about comedy is it's kind of a team sport too. Is
Mm.
you know we'll sit around and like I have a workshop group that I go to try to go to every week with some friends around the country, and we'll sit and we'll play with new jokes. Hey, I got an idea, and they'll throw a line out and go, hey, how about this, and they take you down a path you didn't even think about, right? So
Right.
one of the things that's something people just think we sit in a room, we write this stuff out, and we come out and it's just genius, and it's not. You know, it
Right.
takes a long time. It's a lot of trial and error. But you know, some of the best tags I have were given to me by other people. You know, so even my
Right.
kids have added stuff to my set. You know, so but the coolest thing is sometimes like so you'll play with something for a long time and then it won't work. And then all of a sudden a little piece will fall together and you're like, oh, that's how it all goes together. It's
Right.
amazing. It's super cool to watch, you know, just from a creative standpoint. You know, sometimes you got to just hammer away at it. Other times it
Yeah.
just drops in your lap. It's kind of crazy how that works.
Interesting. So let's talk about like structure,
Yeah.
the structure of your comedy. Like,
Hmm.
hold our hands here. Okay. It's not set up in punchline. It's like, do you think structure when you're
Yeah,
doing?
for sure.
Okay. Tell
Yeah,
me
I think
structure. Tell
structure
me.
for sure.
Tell
Well,
me.
I mean, I think so. Basically, in the class we teach that's one of the things that makes us different. The class, you know, that class with Armed Services Arts Partnership is we break it down to this is what a joke looks like. You know,
Right.
obviously everything's different, everything goes different ways, but you know, we say, hey, it's a premise. What am I going to talk about? Just let you know what the headline is. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, this is something that's stupid. This is something that makes me mad. This is whatever, and then you know, set up. I'm trying to take these people down a path. I'm trying to go down this pathway, and then you know the punchline is something where I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to turn, you know, and then I tag off of that. And then you know there's a lot of little techniques that we use, and it's weird once you start learning some of these techniques and you start watching comedy, you realize like, oh, they're doing that now. Okay,
Right.
they're going to heighten this thing. They're going to talk about it and then make it big. They're going to exaggerate. It's going to be so over the top you can't, or you know, there's going to be a misdirect where you think I'm talking about this, but I'm really talking about this. And
Right.
it is a structural, there is a structure to it. I mean, I think
Right.
it's like anything else, you know, you use that structure and then when you get a little bit better, you can kind of deviate from that and change the rules a little bit.
Right.
You know, which is what the greats do. But yeah, man, I mean, there is definitely a structure to it. And a lot of times if something's not working, you know, some of the people I write with sometimes will just be like, okay, let's go back to the fundamentals. What's the point that you're trying to
Right.
make? You know, what's your point of view? Why does this bother you? And then it just kind of flows. Once you figure out what the deal is and what you're really trying to say, it just a lot of times it just kind of flows, man. It's pretty cool.
Right. So, okay, keeping with structure.
Yes.
So, when you're I'm assuming before you do your gig, you
Hmm.
rehearse, you go over your stuff. Like say you're in the middle of a set, okay,
Hmm.
and the joke is dying. Okay. It,
Never happens.
it
What are you
never
talking
happens,
about,
Wade.
man? Never.
It
It's
never
always
had.
perfect.
Is there like backups in your brain? Like, okay, let's segue to this. Like, can I fall back on this piece of structure? Is there something,
Yeah.
or is it just motor memory? Is it just like, how does it
No.
work?
Well, that's the thing about comics. Like there are comics that do that. No matter what's happening in the room, they're going to do what they plan to do, no
Got
matter
it.
what.
Right.
And that works for some people. It doesn't work for me.
Okay.
I like to be in the room with the audience and stuff like that. I mean, and there are you know, there are times when you just realize this crowd doesn't want to talk about this. They don't want to hear this
Right.
joke, right? And what I try to do typically is I'll try to double down on my point of view a couple of times and see if they actually come on board. 'Cause sometimes they just need to be like, punched in the face a little bit, you know,
Right. Yeah.
you know, I was in really rural Virginia last night, and I have a pretty good chunk of my set where I talk about abortion. You know, I do it in a fun way,
Of course.
but of course,
As we
fun
do.
abortion.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. You know, but no, it's like, and so there's a couple of points where I know they're going to tighten up on the on a piece, especially if they're super conservative. But then I have another. I found that if I do this other thing in the middle, this other bit that still has to do with the abortion side, but it's more jokey joke,
Right.
that it lightens them up and softens them up, and then I can hit a couple other points that I wanted to go after.
Right.
You know. So there's always I feel like I always probably have bailout points, even if I don't
Right.
plan them 100%, but I definitely have places, and I'll bail on it if something's just completely not working.
Right.
I'll just be like, all right, we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about something else. That's cool. But yeah, so
Right.
I try to have little ins and outs of different things.
Do you think one bailout point for comedians? I've seen a lot of this on TikTok. Like I'm a big
Yeah,
TikTok guy. Crowd work. There's some
yes,
guys who are amazing at it, and there are others that I feel like it's like a crutch.
yeah.
Is crowd work a crutch?
I okay. That's a good way to put that question, man. It's like, all
Yeah.
right, comics don't know. I don't know that it's a crutch. What I
Okay.
will say is a lot of times crowd work's a big illusion. You know, not
Okay.
to be that magician that's showing everybody her tricks, but a lot of times, like there's a few jokes that are crowd work in my set that I know what people are going to say. There's like
Okay.
three answers I've ever gotten, and if once in a while they'll say something and throw me off, and I'm like,
Right.
and usually it's a fun moment, right?
Right. Yeah.
I like crowd work because a lot of times I get new jokes out of it.
Yes.
You know, somebody will say something that like, you know, I asked an audience a long time ago. I said, you know, hey, what's the secret to marriage? And this guy says we had a deal. I'm like, well, you know, whoever left first had to take the kids, and I was like, oh my god, that's in my set forever now.
Right.
You know, stuff like that that gets said, or sometimes people say things. So I've
Right.
seen people use it as a crutch. I will say that it is, and sometimes though, if the room is just dying and the set's going really badly, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that hey, I'm going to start talking to this table
Right.
and try to get something going, try to get a relationship rather than just like I'm just going to plow through material.
Right.
You know, and people honestly, because of TikTok and stuff, people kind of want to be talked to these
Yep.
days,
Yep.
for better or for worse, or they want to talk to you for
Yeah.
better or for worse.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if it's done well, it's so much fun. Like Matt Rife is an amazing crowd work comic, right?
Right.
Like everybody's seen his stuff. He is, I mean, his material is good, but his crowd work is amazing. And just he just takes the time, and you know, a lot of people don't take the time
Right.
to listen to what people are saying and react to it and stuff like that. But a lot of the crowd work is kind of an illusion because we kind of know a lot of times what people are going to say or roughly
Right.
what they're going to go with.
Can I
But
tell you a guy who I think is amazing at crowd
yeah,
work?
for sure.
Morgan J. Look
Morgan
up
J. I don't
Morgan
know him.
J on TikTok. He'll make you howl, man. He incorporates what's that music? It's auto tune
Oh,
with
right on.
with his crowd work. It is hilarious. Matt Rife, solid. Morgan J, pound for pound, in my opinion, crowd work. He's the guy.
Yeah,
So
nice. I'll check him out, man. I probably have seen him. I just don't
you
recognize his
probably
name.
have seen him. You probably have.
I would
But
almost guarantee it, but yeah,
oh, this is great, man. This is cool. Like I'm just trying to figure out what makes a good comedian. So you got to think on your feet because you're talking about
yeah,
how,
for sure.
when you're doing crowd work, you got to bounce off what people are saying. So you got to be with that. You do have like you have some sort of a plan. Like if things do
Sure,
crumble, you do have some things that you resort to. Um,
absolutely.
Building rapport. Okay, Dwayne, off the top, like
Hmm.
how do you build rapport with the audience right away? Is it okay, make them laugh? That's how you build rapport. Is
Yeah.
that it or
Yeah. Yes and no. So there's really I what we always tell students and stuff is I want to get a laugh. Um Sometimes people say in the first 15 20 seconds. I say faster than that. I want to get a laugh the second I'm moving the mic stand behind me. You know, I'm
okay?
taking the mic out and I'm like, I want to get a laugh quick. That helps everybody. It helps everybody relax because the crowd's nervous too. When you walk up, the crowd is nervous because they're like, is this guy going to be funny?
Right, yeah, yeah.
Right. And you're nervous because you're like, I hope they think I'm funny.
Right.
And then as soon as you get that first laugh out of the way, it's amazing to just watch the tension
Right.
stop in the room, like, because they're like, oh, okay, this person's funny. And once you hear that first laugh, you're like, okay, they think I'm funny. Let's go. One thing I like to do, I did it last night, for example, is I like to talk about the venue when I first roll in. Not like in a bad way. You hear a lot of comics like trash a venue, like, oh,
Right.
I've done this TV show. Now I'm in the middle of nowhere, Kansas or
Right.
whatever.
Sure.
I try not to do that, but I talk about the room, and
Okay.
especially if it's not a regular comedy club, it's a bar or something like that. Or, they'll have flyers up in the bathroom. Like last night, there was a place they were doing little people wrestling like the next weekend at this place I was at. It was like, okay, I'm talking about this, right?
Right.
And so, they have whatever, something goofy on the walls or something like that.
Right.
I always like to, because they love it. They want to go, okay, this person's here with us. They're not just somebody from wherever that came in and is going to tell us their shtick. They go, oh, okay, this person notices this. Or if I'm in a town that I don't know, I'll always either look up on TripAdvisor the top 10 things to do, and you can always make jokes about that because there's going to
Sure.
be stupid things on there.
Sure. Yeah.
Or I'll go do something. I love going to a museum. I was in Ohio not too long ago. I was like, oh, I'm going to go to the Football Hall of Fame. Well, that gave me the first
Yeah.
2 minutes. I just talked about the Football Hall of Fame, which everybody knew.
Hmm.
So just something like that, I think really builds rapport fast.
Okay.
And that's what I try to do. I always try to talk about the room if I have a longer set where I have some time to play, for sure.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there, man. Because I know when I attend a comedy show, I look at the person. I'm like, okay, what do you got?
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
a judgment. Like I'm
A hundred
prejudging
percent,
Dwayne.
man.
I'm
Yeah.
prejudging
Yeah.
Dwayne. I just paid money here, man. I got the
Yeah.
babysitter. You know what I mean?
As it should be. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the thing is, and I, and the thing I think you just have to be willing to switch, I mean, if you go in with this is my plan and the stuff you had planned just isn't working,
Yeah.
you got to kind of pivot left and right. And, hopefully you have enough stuff to do that. I mean, when people are new, newer comics, they got 5 minutes and they're going to do that 5 minutes, right? Or
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
7 minutes or whatever. But, once you have plenty of time, you can go, okay, they're not liking this joke, but let's go over here to this thing and talk about this. You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
it's definitely you have a plan, but you got to think and you got to be able to pivot for sure.
For sure, man. Okay, so I watch these different comedy specials on Netflix, Amazon, whatever, and I see like they're an hour long. I'm like, yo,
Hmm.
man, how long does it take to craft like an hour long set? Like 5 minutes sounds daunting to me, but
Yeah.
tell me about like how long does it? Okay, so your special, how long is it? And
It's 52 minutes.
how did you like? How long did it take for you to craft that?
I mean, years. Those jokes were in the making for years,
Years.
honestly. It's weird. It's so I think it's like anything, right? I think the first one, and I have one special, so I'm not an expert on like down the road, but I can
Sure.
say people I've seen, right? So I think it's like the first one, it takes a long time to get
Mm,
everything ready, and then but even when you film the first one, I mean, there's still, I still had 30 or 40 minutes of material that I thought wasn't good enough to go in the special yet. But, now I'm working on that, playing with that, trying to get that ready, so hopefully in another, I filmed it right at a year ago. So hopefully in another year,
yeah.
or so, I'll be ready to drop another one. But there is a weird pressure out there to continue to do that. I mean, Louis C.K.,
Mm,
for all his faults, that dude would do a brand new hour every year,
wow.
and it's crazy. And you think about that from back in the old days when people would tour their entire career with the same act for
Mm,
decades, right? And so it's a
wow.
lot different now. That guy, but he's a comedic genius, right? So I could put out a special in a year, but it wouldn't be what I want it to be.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, it's kind of like, when are you gonna do it? And, Tom Segura is another one. He puts one out. It seems like every year.
Yeah.
So they've kind of made put a undue pressure on us in some
Oh, right.
ways because
That's
those guys do it every year.
yeah.
But yeah, it is, for us mortals, I don't know, a few years. I'll wait a couple more years before I film another one probably.
For sure. Oh, take us back to when you got the call. Hey, Dwayne, we want you for the special. We want to do a
Yeah.
special with you.
Well, so it was a little bit different. I was already planning. I was going to film it independently and just
Okay.
release it on my own.
Yeah.
So that was going to happen. I had the date and
Okay.
everything like that. And then I got in. I'd been talking with Comedy Dynamics, which is the distributor out in LA that actually picked it up and got it to all the good platforms. Because if I'd have
Oh,
done it myself, I'd have just thrown it up on YouTube and hoped, you know what I mean?
sure, yeah.
So yeah, I remember the day I got the email, it was awesome. They're just like, hey, in fact, I got it the day before I was doing a news interview, so it was super cool. I got to go announce it on TV. I was like, hey,
Right.
I'm doing my special tomorrow night, but I just got word. So it was like 2 days before I filmed the special, or a week before I filmed the special, that they were going to pick it up, and that was huge. So that was a really big deal. I mean, it was just and then to see them doing the promotions and to see them putting stuff out, I was like, oh, okay, this is freaking cool. You know what I mean? So it was kind of a dream come true. You know, when you finally see something happening that happened when you were 8 there that you wanted since you were, in fourth grade. Kind of it was kind of surreal, to be honest, just to see that, and then to pull it up on Amazon Prime, you're like, hey, that's me. Okay,
That's so
cool.
cool.
It's
That's so,
weird, man. It's super weird. Or to jump on Spotify and be like, hey, I know that guy.
oh my
Uh,
God.
but yeah, it's a weird feeling, but it's super cool.
Oh,
I
that's
loved it.
amazing, man. Listen, I know you have a lot of people who have embraced this decision in your life and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Come on, there have been maybe one or two haters, and when that special happened, you're like, I told you so, man. Check it out, you know?
It's funny. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, the night. Oh my gosh, this is. So I was still doing my old job, and this was before I even went and took the class. I was down in Florida with my team when I
Yeah.
was still working for the government, and I told them, I was like, there were a couple people that I trusted enough on the team. I was like, all right, this is gonna sound weird,
Hmm.
but next month when we get back, I'm taking a stand-up comedy class. And they're like, and one, I was talking to two people. One of them was like, oh, that's awesome. That's super cool. The other was like, come on, man. Are you serious? What? Like, you're going to do comedy. And it was funny
Right.
when the special came out, he actually emailed me. He's like, dude, you said you were going to do it and you did it. So it was kind of cool,
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's haters out there, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't see too many. I mean, I try not to read comments because
Yeah, yeah.
they'll destroy your soul. But most of them are overwhelmingly positive. There's just some people that are just angry
Yeah,
at
we
life
ignore
and they're going to
those.
do stuff. But YouTube's the worst.
Oh,
They have the worst comments of
uh,
anybody.
oh my
Um,
gosh.
but yeah, so yeah, there weren't too many. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the one thing I will say that's really good about that Armed Services Arts Partnership
yeah,
thing is it's the super supportive
yeah,
organization. And it's like, I mean, and that's what we try to do. I mean, 99% of people aren't going to stay in comedy. It's a bucket list thing. They wanted to try it or they want to get better at public speaking or
sure.
whatever. But we're trying to build that community, right? And so, it's a very positive experience. And then those people kind of become your supporters and vice versa, when after the classes are over and they become your friends and they make it easy, because comedy, I mean, honestly, comedy it'll crush your soul when you
Yeah,
first start going out to open mics and nobody knows who you are,
yeah,
nobody knows if you're any good, nobody cares, because people start and then stop 2 months later, so nobody really wants to take a risk on you. But when you have those people
yeah,
around you, from the class or from whatever, it takes the edge off of that stuff and makes it actually fun and supportive. And so it's one of those things we try to build too at our place. We try to build a community with
yeah.
younger comics and newer comics and stuff like that. So haven't had too many haters yet. I will. I'll have
Yeah.
some terrible ones
The
soon.
bigger you get, man, the bigger you get. But I think it's so true with community because I think right now there's probably someone watching this interview, listening to it, who is mid-career trying to figure out that next step. They don't have a community and they want to do
Yeah.
comedy and they maybe don't have the confidence. So where could someone seek that community? Like take a class is what you're saying? Like,
It depends. So what I will say is you got to be careful with classes.
okay.
A lot of classes are just money grabs from people that aren't very good comics teaching a
Yeah.
class. Some are great. Some are great. I don't want to say they're all like that. Some are
Right.
amazing. Some are wonderful. That's why I like ours, because our students don't pay anything, right? Because it's a
Okay.
nonprofit. So that's why I
Perfect.
always feel good recommending our class. If you're military connected in any way, go to Armed Services Arts Partnership. It's ASAP, ASAP. You got to put it twice. ASAP, ASAP.org. All the classes are free if you're military, military connected, family member, etc. They're super free. But So those are good. A class is good if you can find a good one. You know, the other thing I would just say, it's scary. It's scary, but just find an open mic in your area. Go on Facebook, go on Instagram, find open mics, and just start going to one. And even if you don't, if you know, if you're scared at first to go and jump on stage, just go watch them. Two things are going to happen. One, you're going to know how the system works at their open mic because everyone is run differently. And
Right.
two, you're going to see people and go, okay, I'm better than them. I can
Right.
do
Yeah.
better than that because there are some horrible, horrible comics that go to open mics and they will say horrible, horrible things. But you know, you'll see, and that'll boost the confidence, and you'll get to know people. And once you're comfortable in a room, it's a whole lot different than just like showing up blind. Um, but it's that first step, right? It's that first step of trying stuff and checking it out,
Got it.
and seeing who you click with. You know what I
For
mean?
sure. All
So
right, so let's talk, Dwayne, about
yeah,
okay, a day in the life. So
yes,
Dwayne, okay, he's got to be in Virginia. Okay, tomorrow. Okay, you got to take that plane flight. Okay, how do you get ready? You know, and then on game day, you know, how do you set up? What are you doing? What is Dwayne doing leading up to the set?
to a show. Well, if it's a ways away, I always try to get in early. The day if I'm flying in the day of a show or I'm driving in day of a show, I always try to get to my hotel like before I'm technically allowed to check in, and then I just beg to get in early so I can take a nap.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
I mean I'm actually as weird as it sounds to do this job where I work at night. I'm a super morning person.
Wow.
So like I'm an early riser, and then I got to take a nap beforehand.
Yes.
You know, it kind of stinks if you can't get that, but try and get that, and then honestly, I'll if I can do it, if I have time, what I usually try to do is scribble out at least a little bit of what my set is before I go to sleep. Because otherwise, I won't be able to sleep very much because I'll be thinking all day, like, what do I want to do? What do I want to talk about?
Mm.
Which bits am I going to do? What am I not going to do? How am I going to adjust this? Um, so I try to scratch that out, and then my brain just seems to kind of work around that a little bit, like even while I'm asleep and stuff. And I'll wake up and go, oh, okay, clarity moment. Let's do this here and move this here and stuff like that. But then it's just you know, the getting ready part. It's just blasting some kind of fun music to get me in a good mood before I
Yes.
go to the club.
Mm.
But I definitely do. You know, when I get to if I get to a club, depending on where I'm at in the lineup, you know, I'll 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 always kind of go off by myself, scribble out my set list. Usually, if it's not if I'm doing like 45 or an hour, I will have a set list on stage with me.
Okay.
But otherwise, I write it out every time what I'm going to do, not like word for word, but just like bullet points. That hey, this is the bit I'm going to do. Then I'm going to go to this. Then I'm going to go to this. Um, and I'll put it in my back pocket. I never pull it out, but
Mm.
it's always in my back pocket, like a
Mm.
little Linus security blanket. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I do that. I don't know what it is about it. It just makes me feel better that I
Yeah.
know it's there. But yeah, you know, kind of depending on the room, jump around a little bit in the green room, or you know, kind of just get pumped up if I can, and then just you know, kind of go on stage with as much energy as I can muster in the
Right.
beginning, and just go. You know what I mean? And try the key, honest to God, I tell every student this, and it's been told to me, and it's like you just got to have it fun. You got to be having fun with it when you're on stage. If you're not having fun, the audience can tell, and they
Yeah.
won't have fun too. So you know, just try to remind myself if I'm having a bad day or something, I just try to like do a little self-talk and be like, hey man, you're doing the greatest job on the planet right now, dude. You get to go up here and tell jokes to these people. You know, so you know, I just try to remind myself of that, and it always kind of puts me in a good mood before I go up on stage. Which is funny because like 90% of my act is me being angry about stuff, which is
Right.
kind of fun, but in a fun way, right? Like
Yeah.
I used to sell, I still do, but I said I have T-shirts that said "anger is my love language."
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. I'm pumping myself up to be all happy, and then I go up there and complain about things that are making me angry. But it is what it is, man.
No, anger's great. It relates to people. It's relevant.
Oh,
You know,
for sure,
so
dude. People are mad about stuff, and you know, and it's to get mad about stuff that's not something you should get mad about.
yeah.
You know, is one of the things I do a lot. I'll be over the top mad about stuff. You know, with my kids or with you know, with whatever. You know, and it works. You know, when I first started, I thought I was going to be a little bit like, oh, I'm going to be a nicer guy, a jokey joke comedian, and I was like,
Yeah.
nope, the anger stuff works. When Dwayne's mad, people laugh. When Dwayne's like happy, people don't laugh.
That's
Um,
right.
so
So
yeah, it's
once a
kind of
set is
fun.
done, Dwayne, like what do you do? What happens? Do you like go to the bar, have a drink, hang out with some fans, or go straight to the hotel? What do you do?
It kind of depends, man.
Okay,
I mean, I always try to sell some t-shirts afterwards. That's the main thing.
cool.
And so I'll take pictures and, I always tell people on set, like, hey, I'm going to be over here selling t-shirts. Come take a picture, jump on my Instagram, whatever, grab a t-shirt, etc. So, you talk to people a lot after the shows. I mean, like last night, I signed for the first time. This is a new one. I signed a pregnant lady's belly, her
Wow.
shirt over her belly. That was a new one. I'd never done that before. She's like, I want you to sign. She was pregnant. She's like, I want you to sign your shirt like right over my baby's belly. I'm like, okay, but your husband's filming it because I'm not going to jail. Um,
Yeah,
and then if you can, it kind of depends. I mean, if it's with people that I really like or I really want to hang out with, we'll go hang out, go back to the bar or chill or something like that.
right.
I try not to hang like if it's in a bar, I try not to hang necessarily in that bar too long, just because everybody wants to talk to you, everybody wants to tell you their favorite street jokes and stuff like that. And you're like,
Right,
all right, dude,
right,
I got
right.
it.
Yeah.
But sometimes if it's fun, we definitely hang out.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just try on the good nights where I'm doing the right things and I want to do, and I'm doing my, I'm really focused on the job. I'll go back to my hotel and I'll review if I recorded my set. I'll review the tape and I'll take some notes. Be like, okay, this joke worked here
Cool.
better. This, I got to do this. So there's a lot of post game, watching tape afterwards and listening to yourself and trying to adjust things. And the
The
best
grades
time to
to
do
it.
that, honestly, yeah, it's the best time is right after
Yeah.
you get off stage, because it's
Yep.
fresh. You're kind of in that flow state a little bit still, and things like that. And then, just try to get up and do it all again the next day, man.
So what you just talked about the repetitive task of it. Like, what's the
Mhm.
traveling like? I just is it a grind for you? Like, if
Yeah.
you have okay,
It can be. It can
okay,
be.
yeah.
I quote. I mean, it's been said a million times. I think the last person I heard say it. So this is who I quote it. Give the credit for the quote to is Taylor Tomlinson. She said, if you can do anything else other than this job, you should do it because the road will kill you, and the road
Mm,
is tough. But
yeah.
I travel well. I used to travel all the time for work. I was always,
Okay.
all over the world traveling. So I'm pretty good at it, I
Right.
think, so I have it down and and I'm not sleeping in my car and stuff like that. I'm too old for that crap.
Right. Yeah.
Like a lot of comics, like I'm gonna sleep in my car. It's like, dude, I'm 50 years old. I'm not sleeping in my car.
Right. Right.
I'll,
Right.
I'd rather lose money on a hotel. But no, it is it can be a grind. It's
Right.
but I love it. Honestly, I love being out on the road. And so like now I've been home for 2 weeks and I'm kind of going stir crazy because I
Oh
want to get
shit.
out there somewhere else,
Right. Right.
but yeah, it's tough. I mean, some days, it's weird what we do to ourselves, especially comics. Like it's weird because comics will do a show, that ends at midnight. We'll get back to the hotel at 2 a.m. and then usually if we're going home, we're like, oh, I'll take the 6 a.m. flight because I'm an idiot
Oh my gosh.
and get home. And it's kind of crazy, but it's tough, but it's fun because you never know what's coming. You never know what to expect. So it's pretty cool and unpredictable and interesting all
For
the time.
sure. So earlier you mentioned Tom Segura, you mentioned some
Mhm.
comedians, CK, Louis CK. Are these
Yeah, yeah,
guys you
yeah.
look up to? Who do you look up to?
Yeah, I mean, not in all the ways with
Right.
CK. Um,
Right, right, right.
I would say that the probably the two that really stick in my head right now that are probably two of my favorites. I love Kyle Kinane. I think he's the most underrated comic on the planet right now. I mean, he's so funny, so smart, and his stuff is just amazing. I love him. Chad Daniels is one of my favorites.
Mm,
Absolutely love that guy. Big fan of Nikki Glazer as well. She's blowing up right now.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah. Yeah, I kind of try to watch everybody,
yeah,
even people I don't necessarily connect with or relate to, just because I think you can take something away from everybody when you're watching
right,
these folks. And so, I'll try to watch as much comedy as I can,
right.
as well. When I'm home, especially, or when I'm on an airplane, or I watch comedy specials when I drive, which I shouldn't say in public. If Geico is listening, I don't mean this. It's just a joke. Uh,
Right.
but
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
yelled at all the time by my friends for watching
Oh,
movies while I drive.
oh
So I'm
man.
like, it's just I listen. I listen
You listen.
mostly.
Of
Yeah,
course,
it's
man.
fine. It's fine. But yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's nice to just kind of watch other people. And I will say this: the number of times I've watched specials though and gone, God, I wish I would have thought of that joke. It's
Right.
like I get so jealous every time Bill Burr drops a special. I go,
Yeah.
God.
Right.
I could have said that, and because it's just so good. I'm like, gosh, man, you own that topic now, man, because it was
Yeah.
just so good.
Dwayne, I got to tell you something, man. Like, okay, like I'm a connoisseur of comedy. Like, I love that stuff.
Okay.
You don't seem neurotic to me, man. Like, you see, like, I see all
I
these
can do
comic.
this for an hour and be normal.
Yeah, dude. Like, you're not revealing. Like, you're not the stereotypical narcissistic,
I'm totally
neurotic,
narcissistic.
self-involved. Or maybe
I
Dwayne's
haven't
just
looked at your
behaving,
picture
guys.
the whole time. I've just been watching me. So I'm just, does that count? I'm just kidding. I'm
Right.
kidding. But no, yeah, it is there, man. It comes in
Okay.
waves. You know what I mean? It's definitely there. All my friends, my family will tell you. Like there are times where it's
Okay.
just the thing about comedy. It's such an up and down game. It is
Yeah.
so like you have these huge highs, and then you have these huge lows. Like I'll give an example. I was in Poland last November for a month. We were doing shows for the troops, right? It
Yeah.
was so much fun. First time I'd ever done an overseas tour. Had amazing times with a bunch of different comics that were three other comics. We just drove around Poland for a month together in a van and had such a good. My belly hurt every day from laughing. It was so much
Nice.
fun with these people. Thank God we all clicked, right? And we're all really good friends now. I tour with one of them all the time now, and so but when I came back in December, it was just, I was so depressed for like 3 weeks straight. I was just
Wow.
like, life sucks. This is lame. Like, I don't want to be like, I need to be
Wow.
on the road doing this fun stuff again. And that's kind of how comedy is, or you'll have an amazing show one night. Like, the first time I did a theater, I headlined a theater in Virginia. And then the next
Wow.
night I was in Pittsburgh or something like that, somewhere in a bar with like my backdrop was a brown tarp and
Ah,
there's six people in the room. You know what I
nice.
mean? So
Oh my
it's
God.
it's definitely it'll play with your brain a lot,
Dude,
So and the
man.
Prozac helps. The Prozac helps a
I'm
lot.
sure. I'm sure.
but, but yeah, it's the yeah, I'm plenty neurotic
Okay.
and narcissistic. Just I'm hiding it very well
You
right
are.
now.
So
And
yeah,
so
okay.
that's it.
Dwayne, I'm talking with you. We're having a great chat here, just trying to understand what makes, a really solid comedian. So, you're talking about, well, you have your plan, thinking on your feet, building rapport right away, get that laugh within the first 5 seconds. Be prepared to travel. Be prepared to be committed. If you're serious, you got to be all in. Be
Yeah,
willing to
for sure.
take the leap. You know, what other things am I missing? Like the ingredients of like a working comic. You're supporting yourself. What are the ingredients?
Um, Honestly, I think the thing that I see that separates good comics from bad comics, or good comics from okay comics, or maybe great comics from good comics, is just the work ethic, man.
Okay.
Honestly, people do not understand how much work goes into it. Everybody thinks you just walk up there and you talk and you work for an hour a night and all this, but man, I read one study when I first started. It was like 1 minute of A level material is takes 23 hours to craft and get it to that
Wow.
point. And I don't know how the heck you test that,
Yeah.
but that's what I read, and I believe it because there's so much other stuff. It's all the junk that goes along with it that kind of destroys you. That like
Hmm.
social media and writing and traveling and all these things. And it's just you got to want it and you got to love it so much that you're willing to put up with that stuff. And I mean, I think the military helped me a lot because I can put up with a lot of discomfort and a lot of stressors and things like that,
Right.
and so I think that helped me. And the work ethic side of it is,
Right.
you got to do it even when you don't feel like it. Sometimes you're going to go on stage and things, you just had an argument with your spouse, or something bad happened, or I
Right.
went on one night 5 minutes after a relative died, and you just got to be like, all right, let's turn that off and go. And so that idea of this is super important, this is crazy. I love this more than most things in my life. So
Wow.
you just have to kind of have that drive and desire. You know what I mean? Not to say people can't have fun and do it as a hobby. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
But I think to be serious about it and to do it, you just got to really. I mean, it is a huge commitment, time and effort wise.
Man, and you know what, Dwayne? That's why you're getting the success you're getting, man. Like the special, and there's more great stuff to come, man. So listen, tell the people where can they see the special? Where can they get some Dwayne
Yeah.
comedy?
Yeah, so I will say, first and foremost, find me on Instagram, White Dwayne Comedy. You got to spell it right. Dew. That's what screws everybody up. But White Dewayne Comedy. Kind of a little play on my name. I do a lot of black rooms, and it's really fun when there's no picture of me on
Sure.
the on the flyer. It's so much fun. I love going up. But then there is the best way, and then the website Dewayne White Comedy, and the specials everywhere, man. It's on Apple TV, Amazon Prime are the top two for the videos. It's on a bunch of different platforms, but then Spotify, Apple Music if you just want to listen to it in your car. That's the best place to find it. But yeah, please check it out. Please, please, please go watch the special. It's a lot of fun. And find me when I'm in your town.
I love
I
it.
post on my website all the shows that I'm doing. As soon as I know about them, I put them on there, and yeah, so we got a lot of cool stuff coming up very, very soon. So
I love it. Dewayne, congrats, man. Again, thanks for doing this.
thanks, I appreciate it. It was a great time.
That was a cool chat with Dewayne. It was just so neat just to find out more about his inspiring story from where he was to where he is. It's just such an unlikely road, but it was so neat just to learn more about it and also the wisdom and the tips he shared. Dewayne, thanks, man. Totally appreciate it. All right, that's it for this interview. Please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and podcast. Until next time, take care and have a good one.